Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. It is a really gloomy, dull morning this morning, so much so it's like 9 o'clock in the morning. I've had the lights on in order for me to film this so you could actually see me. My hair is soaking wet because I'm just literally getting ready for the day, so forgive my hair, it looks like a scraggly mess. So yeah, what I've been up to this week? Well, I've had this week off. It's been the second week of my 2 week leave. I can't believe I'm back at work tomorrow. But I've basically had this week to just chill out, just to relax, do what I want. I didn't want to go to the dentist and have to have a filling, but that is something that I had to deal with. Bought myself some lovely new pillows, and yeah, and I've chilled out. This week has gone far too fast. I also got into watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Actually, thanks to my week off in York, because in the evening, a TV channel on the TV in my hotel room would have an hour of Brooklyn Nine-Nine in the evening that it's one of those shows that I was aware of but just never watched. And so I've sat this week and binge watched all 8 series of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So, and I really enjoyed that. So I've been doing that, but I've been doing that especially to help me deal with the book that I have been reading this week and what I am here to review. And that is The Power by Naomi Alderman. So, a little bit of backstory. I've had this since the paperback came out in 2017. It was I think it was part of like a buy one get one free deal, or buy one get one half price deal, should I say, at Waterstones. And so yeah, so I got it. It was absolutely everywhere, and especially because of Handmaid's Tale was so popular on Hulu. I think it was like around the second series, I think, when this book came out. I might be wrong there, but yeah, it was all over the place. A lot of people were buzzing about it, so I decided to get a copy in paperback, and it has just sat on my bookcase until now. So I have now read this book, and I absolutely regret it. So didn't like it at all. So what is this book about? This book is set in the near future, and how Naomi refers to it as starting like the day after tomorrow. So it's very much our time. It can happen at any time sort of situation. It's a science fiction book. Just want to make that clear, because you'll understand why with the premise and everything. And basically, women start to discover that they are able to form electricity through their hands, their fingers, and people are like, what the hell is going on? And they can inflict pain upon people, obviously, by the sparks of the electricity. So we follow 4 people in particular. So we have Roxy, who is the daughter of like a gang leader, sort of like mafia sort of world, based in London. And when we meet her, she and her mother are being attacked. Then we have Ali, who she's had a lot of abuse in her life and such, and she hears like a message in her head from a female god who, or just to clarify, both of them have the power, from a female god in her head, basically telling her to start a new religion. Then we have Margot, who she doesn't have the power, but to begin with, when this book begins, but one of her children, her daughter, she has multiple children, but I can't remember exactly how many, but her daughter, she discovers, has this power, and Margot is the Amaya, and she's like, I could kind of use this to my advantage, and so she uses it in order to go up the political ladder to be able to represent women and such, and what that then leads to is something quite interesting. And then we have Tund, and our only male protagonist, is a journalist based in Nigeria, and he witnesses the power when it first appears, and actually films a woman just discovering that she has this power, but she accidentally inflicts pain on someone else, and he uploads it on like YouTube, and it goes viral, and he becomes like the person who has all of this knowledge base of what is going on. Okay, so those are 4 protagonists. It's about this power that gets generated only in women, and the impacts globally of that. Now, in the introduction, we have a back and forth email from a guy and someone called Naomi, who they're talking about the power and everything and stuff that he has written, and then you have the book, and then we have a back and forth with them again at the end. Why that structure is there becomes clear when you get to the end of the book, but I'm not going to say why because spoilers. So this stood out to me for the premise as having, this is a really good premise. I really like the idea of this, but when it came to the actual execution of this book, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. As you know, if you've watched various videos of mine, I want to emotionally connect with the characters. Sometimes that is impossible because I just don't, even though we have all of this information about the characters, there is just something that's blocking the ability to do that, which is usually the writing style. It just doesn't quite fit with me. As I've described it before, it's like I am standing in front of a scene and there's a pane of glass between me and the scene happening, and I want to be able to get through the glass. I want, or at least the glass not to be there, so it's free for me to just explore this. And because of some writers' writing style, that's not possible. But especially for this book, Naomi doesn't even let you have that. There is absolutely no depth for any character whatsoever. We don't get to know them. We don't get to know their backstory, really. It's just literally, this is what's happening in this present second, there you go. But what also, this is only like 300 odd pages. This spans 10 years. So you have lots of characters, because let's face it, even though we've got 4 main characters, they all have other characters that they interact with, and their lives, cross each other and everything. You have all of these characters, all of this stuff going on, and this mammoth building and building and building to something, and you've only got 300 odd pages to do it in. So the ability to learn backstory and emotional depth of character isn't possible. So that flies out the window. So why should I read a 300 odd page book following these characters if I don't know them? They have no depth. They don't even feel human. They're just these bland, cardboard cutouts, really, that we're following, or at least from my point of view. Just to, as I've said previously, this is just what I think. Some people might absolutely love this book, whereas I absolutely hated it. And, vice versa for other books that I've read where I loved it and other people hate it. That's perfectly fine. Everyone is entitled to their opinion of it. But especially with this book, the characters are so cardboard cutout. It just, no, I didn't, oh God, it drove me up the wall. Secondly, the pace. As mentioned, you've got 300 odd pages spanning 10 years. How? How? And how? You don't answer questions. Granted, there are questions that do get answered. I will give you that. But there were 2 massive questions that I had to massive bits of information that you kind of need to know in order to get the full scope of the picture of how this came to be. And Naomi's like, no, I'm not going to answer that. No, you're not going to know that. Then what was the point? If you're doing a sci-fi book where you have got this massive mystery about the subject in general and how this came to be, you have to have a bloody answer for how it came to be. As an author, you would have had to have figured that out, and you didn't. And you didn't give us that answer. So I ended this book going, well, what was the fucking point? What was the point? What was the point? I mean, I totally get that you can go, well, this isn't about the actual thing. It's about the impact of the thing. Okay, fine. I understand that. Completely understand that. But at the same time, if the impact, because of what it builds to, and again, I'm not going to say what it is because of spoilers, if that is the big monumental thing, you've got to have a frigging reason why. I'm sorry, you have to. This is not something that you can just shrug your shoulders and go, well, you figure it out. I can't. You haven't given me any information to be able to do that. Because you've rushed so through with 10 years in 300 odd pages and expect me to follow two-dimensional characters through it. I no. And overall, a major irk that I had is that as soon as women get this power, it's like every single woman in the world then becomes, and I'm going to say it, and it's a slight spoiler, but it's not at the same time because I'm not giving like in-depth details. They all become abusers, rapists, and murderers. All of them. I'm like, how? Why? I totally understand the concept that power corrupts, that you were getting at here, Naomi. I totally understand that. But not every single woman in the world is going to become a rapist, a murderer, or abuser when there's power over men suddenly appears out of nowhere. I'm sorry, that wouldn't happen. It really irked me, and I do want to make it clear that in this book, if you've got any sensitivity of sexual assaults and severe sexual assaults, rapes, and all kind of abuse and everything, that is in this book, and it's pretty graphic. So, I mean, I have read plenty of books where things like that have happened, and I was okay with it, but I will say, because I'm used to reading that kind of material, but there are going to be people who are going to have sensitivities towards that, and I would want to flag that for this book. I wasn't expecting that to happen, to be honest. It didn't register in my mind that that's something that would happen, but the fact that Naomi does it multiple times as well, as I said, it's such a short span of book that's spanning 10 years and we're following two-dimensional characters, it was just like, what is this? What is this? It didn't feel smart. It felt like a chore to get through. It was like, oh God, what are you going to put me through now, Naomi? I felt like I felt drained every time I picked up this book. And I shouldn't feel drained by that. I should be able to pick up a book and escape into a world. Now, One thing I just want to say, that just popped into my head, but I will finish the point. I'm just saying, I want to be able to escape in a world and get lost in story and character, and especially when you're doing something like this, you have to be able to understand the character, front, back, inside out, everything, every which way, in order to understand how they navigate this world and the choices that they make. And Naomi just doesn't allow you to do that. Now, the point that popped into my head just before that, I want to say, Naomi wrote this after she was mentored by Margaret Atwood, and Margaret Atwood is actually quoted on the book saying electrifying. And in comparison to like Handmaid's Tale, you could go, well, Becky, you said that you found it tough to get through Handmaid's Tale. Yes, I did, because of what it is about, and it is a tough world that is based in. Yes, but I love the story. I still love the story. I think it's incredible look at feminism through the eyes of a woman who, from the second you read that first page, the second you are connected with her. Whereas this, there was none of that there. So you have this thing of, it feels like Naomi is trying to be like Margaret Atwood with the writing, and it doesn't work, or at least in my opinion, that is the case. I don't understand how this is was marketed to me when I bought this book as being, a feminist story and such. And it's like, yeah, I can totally see, the angle of feminism, of women getting all the power. But at the same time, the way that you then go, oh, all women will become rapists, murderers, and abusers when they have power, and power corrupts. Just, it was nonsensical to me. Nonsensical. I hated every moment of reading this book. Every moment. And it's really interesting. I looked on like Goodreads, and I actually looked at some YouTube videos about this book following my completion of it, and it's quite polarizing, this book, but it does very interestingly have like less than 4 stars on like Goodreads and other platforms as well, and it kind of like out of 5, and it's like, if you haven't hit that 4 star, then it's not really great. As I've looked at other books that as I've reviewed on this channel, and it just, this one didn't make it to 4 stars, and I completely understand why. It is completely polarizing. You either love it or you hate it, and I'm very much on the hate side of it. It had such promise, and it just completely fell flat of it. Or at least for me, as mentioned, this is just my honest opinion. I say what I feel, what I think, and especially a woman of the age that I am, I found it quite insulting at points for the way that certain characters were depicted and viewed. It was just like, no, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all, and I was so happy when I finished this book, because I never have to read it again. Just so you're aware, there is a TV series of this which was made by Prime. I don't have Prime, so I couldn't watch it, and to be honest, I don't think I want to watch it after watching the trailer anyway. I mean, it looked like they did okay, from what I can tell. As I said, I've only got the trailer to go off for the way it looks and everything. But but overall, I'm just like, yeah, it's just another TV series. I don't even remember that TV series being announced or released. So I don't know how well it did popularity wise on Prime or anything like that. Um, but yeah, I just hated it. So there we go. Those are my thoughts on The Power by Naomi Alden. It's time to ask my usual questions. Would I read this again? No. 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 Would I recommend this to anyone? No, I wouldn't. But I would say that if I knew someone in my life who is planning to read it or is starting to read it, just let them know, by the way, there is some triggering stuff in this book that you might find uncomfortable. That yeah, it just it didn't work for me. That doesn't mean it isn't going to work for everyone. So would I read any more of Naomi's work? I'm sorry, no. This is like her. I think it was like a fourth or fifth book. And it's like if that characterization and such is what you're presenting 4 or 5 books down the line in your career, I don't think I can go there. I don't think I can. And I always say, I give an author another chance, but I'm just like, you know what? I think Naomi and I are just not going to get along with writing style and the way that I like to absorb worlds and characters and such. So yeah, one of those rare instances, I'm just going to say no. So it's a no across the board, everyone. But have you read this book? I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment in the comments box below. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, tag to your side. And I'm back with my next read, which is The Whispering Muse by Laura Purcell. I'm really excited for this one. I love Laura Purcell's books, but the last book I wasn't all that impressed with. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't love it. But yeah, I'm excited to read The Whispering Muse. She has published another one since this one has come out. Oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called, and my phone is charging on the other side of the room, so I can't look. But yeah, so this is not her most recent book, the one before that. But yeah, I'll be really excited to read The Whispering Muse, and I will be back with my thoughts on that as soon as I'm done. All right, then, everyone. Bye.